morning, good people. Welcome back. This is Wake Up with RayG, brought to you by Bets TV. It is Monday, December 6th, 2021. The year is almost over, and man, it has flown by. The college football season, it's a wrap. We just got our bowl games coming up. Time for Heisman Trophy winning players, all the award seasons. The NFL, we're wrapping up week 13? Week 13 this week? Week 13 of the NFL season. Had a Sunday night game we got to get into. We were talking before the show started. I was like, Jay, I ordered the Javonte Davis fight and fell asleep last night. We got back from our trip yesterday, so I didn't even finish watching. I didn't even watch the damn fight. Paid for it and couldn't stay up to watch it, but I see Javonte Tank Davis, unanimous decision to continue to destroy people in the world of boxing. He's just a super fun, entertaining, one of the best pound-for-pound, probably the best pound-for-pound boxer in the game right now. But check out Mad Lab. Check out Mad Lab on Bets TV. He'll have you tap in with all that other good stuff. Make sure you go to BetsTV.com. Check out all the dope content creators on the lineup. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the podcast. But, Jay, how you doing this morning? I'm back, man. The scenery has changed a little bit around here, man. The scenery has changed a tad bit.
Yeah, you look good, though, man. You look good. You know, you're refreshed. Came back from Mexico. You know, we had you in the robe on Friday. It was good to have you. But it's funny you mentioned falling asleep. I completely forgot Javonte Davis even fought last night. I get on Twitter. People were up in arms about the decision. I think it was 116, 112, and then 115, 113 on the other side from the other two judges. So close fight. And he's talking about how he hurt his hand. But again, I'm probably watching it back on the replay. Fights are iffy, but to your point, Javonte Davis is worth seeing. It just sucked that he didn't knock the guy out, because every time Javonte Davis fights, he's ready to knock that guy out. And I think
Tank is a beast,
24
man.
of 26 now on knockouts.
Yeah, 24 of 26 on knockouts. He's a monster, man. Have you ever gone to his Instagram and just watched his training regimen? His hand, he just...
Oh, crazy. First
of all, these men are itty-bitty. They're like 5'4", 130 pounds, and I have no interest in getting into a street fight with any of those guys. They would 100% kick my ass very quickly. But Javonte Davis, a beast. Javonte Williams, a beast. A good segue from one Javonte into another Javonte. And, Jay, I went back. As we were talking, I went back and looked. Dude, we were all over this. Like, we were all over Javonte Williams, over Travis Etienne. I had him as RB2 in the class. Shit, if you want to put him at RB1, whatever. It doesn't bother me. But do you remember the comp that I had for Javonte Williams pre-draft, pre-combine, pre-pro day? Do you remember the comparison that I have for Javonte Williams? And he looks just like this player right now. Like, he looks exactly like him.
I don't. I'm trying to think.
Come on, remember the prospect profiles? I said,
it was Marion Barber. Marion Barber.
And Marion Barber was like a 3-time Pro Bowler. Like, he was really good in spurts, and he finally took over the role and was a beast in Dallas. He looks just like Marion Barber. I'm watching him last night, and I'm like, we nailed another one. We fucking nailed another one. Javonte Williams looks just like Marion Barber. And the thing is, I can't wait until he learns that he doesn't have to run through everybody. Like, just wait until he learns that aspect of his game, because he's got enough wiggle to make people miss. He can avoid some of those big hits. Like, he's just going to get better and better as time goes on. But outside of that game was ass last night. I don't know what you thought about it. It was terrible. But
I had it on in the background. After it was the first half, I was like, don't feel great about it. And then second half came, I kind of just had it on the background. Didn't really watch so much of it.
Terrible. I never thought I'd see the day where they turn Patrick Mahomes into a game manager. But we'll get into that game. We'll get into the other Sunday games. And then we've got to talk some college football. So let's get into it after we drop the morning run.
Wake up! This is the morning run.
Run, Forrest, run!
Well, I have been predicting it, Jay, for a long time. Weeks on weeks on weeks. I said Alabama's going to make the Final Four. 2 losses, 1 loss. It didn't even get to 2 losses because they absolutely manhandled Georgia in the SEC title game. And as predicted, Alabama is in the Final Four, damn it. I told all you it was just going to happen. It was inevitable. I don't care what the outcome was from that game. Alabama was making the college football playoff. And here they are as the number 1 seed. For everybody out there that panicked, that went crazy over Alabama losing versus A&M, playing a tight 4 overtime game versus Auburn. Here they are as the number 1 seed in the college football playoff rankings. Alabama won. Michigan beat down Iowa. Georgia falls to 3, and Cincinnati took care of business versus Houston, and they get inside the college football playoff. History was made with this AAC title contending team, the only undefeated team in the country. Boom, there they go. Deserving. They're in. Now we'll get to see, can Cinderella pull off the upset? Can David defeat the Goliath, which is Alabama? Can Cincinnati take down the Roll Tide? I don't think it's going to happen. I believe I've seen some early lines. Alabama minus 11.5, Alabama minus 13.5. I mean, I'm not going to go that far. I mean, 13.5 is a decent margin, but I do not foresee Cincinnati upsetting Alabama. And I think Michigan is going to give Georgia a game, and I wouldn't be shocked. My only hesitancy with calling and I guess it really wouldn't be an upset because Michigan is number 2 and Georgia's 3, but I think odds makers, I haven't seen the lines for it yet, Jay, but I do think Georgia would probably be favored in this one.
Georgia by 8.
Georgia by 8, yeah, it's the quarterback play. You see, when you were watching the Alabama game, Bryce Young was just surgical. And what I kept telling, and I said it on the show, Georgia has not seen an offense like Alabama. They hadn't, nor a defense like Alabama throughout their incredible run through the college football season this year. Alabama hadn't played a defense like Georgia, but it was more so what Georgia had not faced opposed to what Alabama had faced. And that was the argument for it. I almost called the upset on the show. I did say it was going to be a tight game. I predicted that Alabama would keep this thing close. I didn't foresee them winning 42-21 or whatever the final score was. But it's at some point, y'all just got to start. I can't. You got to listen to me, folks. Just listen. For the most part, 9.5 times out of 10, I know what the hell I'm talking about, especially when it comes to college sports, when it comes to college prospects. You want to talk about my NFL start-sit decisions, that's fine. But don't question the IQ of GQ when it comes to college football, because I'm telling you, I know what I'm talking about, all right, Jay? I know what the hell I'm talking about, and the issue was Georgia had not seen that. And you could talk about elite defenses all you want, all the elite defenses you want. In college, QB is king, man. We see it year after year. Very few teams can go through the collegiate football season with the Trent Dilfer at quarterback and Greg McElroy your way to a national championship. Like, gone are those days. You need a dynamic weapon at quarterback to get shit done. And when you've got Stetson Bennett versus Bryce Young, there is no comparison. Stetson Bennett was the third string damn quarterback coming into the season. There was still a coin flip whether it was going to be him or Carson Beck as the backup to JT Daniel coming into week 1. And it was evident that the moment, like Coach 30 said, the moment was too big for Stetson Bennett. He pissed down his leg, afraid of the moment. That's what it was. Stetson Bennett couldn't get it done versus Alabama. Now, they may face off in the rematch in the national championship game, and it is very difficult to beat a team twice in a season. I don't care if that's high school, NFL, pro football, it doesn't matter. It is very difficult to beat a team twice in the same season, but this is Kirby Smart's MO. Kirby Smart has been doing it since Georgia lost the Natty to Tua and Devonta Smith in the 2018 national championship. Kirby Smart, great job in the regular season, cannot get it done in big games. And I'm watching Bryce Young, I'm watching Jamison Williams, and that was it. No John Mechie, no running game to speak of. I mean, Brian Robinson did what he could. He was banged up, injured calf. Bryce Young, man, he won the Heisman. He won the Heisman in that game. He probably won it versus Auburn, but he damn sure won it in the SEC title. So go ahead, cash those Bryce Young Heisman tickets. I got some action on that as well, so I'm happy about that one. But just a dominant performance by the Alabama Crimson Tide. Nick Saban, Bill O'Brien and company had that team ready to play. They were ready to go, and they took it to Georgia. I mean, absolutely eviscerated the defense that was impenetrable the entire season. I don't know if you got a chance to watch it, Jay. I was laying next to the infinity pool overlooking the Pacific Ocean as I watched the game, but it was just a dominant performance by Alabama.
I did watch that game. I didn't get a chance to watch the Big Ten Championship game. I did watch some of the highlights, though. But one of the biggest things for me is that, like you mentioned, and like we talked about, it wasn't so much that we didn't believe Georgia's defense wasn't good. It was that Alabama's offense is just so much better than Georgia's defense. That's the ultimate backbreaker for me, is that as good as Georgia's defense is, it's not that big of a gap as the gap between Alabama's offense and Georgia's offense. Georgia's offense couldn't move the ball in Alabama. They couldn't make big plays. You said John Mechie didn't do anything. He still had, I believe, 95 yards and caught 9 passes. Then you talk about Jamison Williams. From week 1, Jamison Williams has been the guy for Alabama, and he continues to get it done over and over and over. And I remember early on in the process, we saw him projected as like a top 15 pick, potentially number 1 wide receiver off the board, ahead of Treylon Burks, ahead of Garrett Wilson.
He's good, man.
And I was kind of like, I don't know about that. But when you show up like this in an SEC title game, that's how you get drafted in the top 15, in the top 10 as a wide receiver. You need to show up in big games, and Jamison Williams continued to do that. Now, I'm curious your thoughts on this, right? We got a month now. Now, the thing for me and the biggest X factor is not only the time, but it's George Pickens' time to heal. He's the guy that Georgia needs more than anything. This is the proof. It tells you right now, Brock Bowers, as great as he is, tight ends don't win you games in college football. They haven't for years.
Yeah.
You look at Jamison Williams, he won Alabama that game. He certainly made a much bigger difference than Brock Bowers is 10 for 125. Alabama just let him dink and dunk down the field, whatever. They didn't care because they couldn't score. Then you look at Jamison Williams' X factor. But if George Pickens can get healthy over the next month, again, he doesn't play, I don't think, till the 4th or something?
Yeah, that's
so almost
the first.
Full
the first,
30 days.
The 1st, January 1st.
Crazy. So you think about all that time to get healthy, to get better. I think George Pickens is going to be a factor against Michigan. And then if they do make it to the title game, will be a factor against Alabama.
It's going to be an interesting matchup because I think what Cincinnati will have, where they will have an advantage, is they're truly playing with house money, right? Nobody is picking Cincinnati to win that game. Nobody. So I think the fact that I don't want to say, because Alabama has faced mobile quarterbacks. I mean, they completely shut down Matt Corral and Ole Miss, but Cincinnati and Luke Fickell, they are going to pull out all the stops to beat Alabama. Nobody is giving them a chance. And I would, if I were going to bet something early, and I'm thinking about an early line, I'd bet Cincinnati to cover for like first half, first quarter, first half. I don't think they walk out there and just get mollywopped from the jump. The difference between and just a little insight, the difference between these big programs like Alabama and Cincinnati, it's not so much as your frontline starters, because we see Cincinnati right now. They've got one cornerback who's going to be a top 15 pick. Desmond Ridder probably going to be a top 62 pick, in the first round, second round pick, all right, for Desmond Ridder. It's the depth, right? It's after those frontline players get worn out and they've got to start bringing in those rotational guys. They just don't have the depth to keep up with the 4 and 5 stars of the Alabamas, of the Ohio States. But I think starter for starter, Cincinnati will fare quite well at the beginning. I think they'll be okay, but I do think Alabama will pull away and just exert its dominance over a team like Cincinnati. The game that's really intriguing for me is Michigan versus Georgia, because Michigan doesn't have Bryce Young. They've got Cade McNamara, and while J.J. McCarthy, I think he's going to be a stud in the field. When I say Michigan is in good hands with number 9, that young true freshman quarterback, 2024 eligible, J.J. McCarthy, is going to be a beast. I mean, he can do it with his legs. He's got an arm. He's got prototypical size. I am excited about watching him, especially if he can take over that starter's role next year. They're in good hands with that young quarterback. And then Donovan Edwards at running back. Blake Corum, he's coming back. They've got a slew of wide receivers. Eric All at tight end. Michigan is putting together a great program. I cannot say I am sorry enough to Jim Harbaugh and all Michigan Wolverine fans, because we just slandered them from hilltop to hill to mountaintop, and they've been phenomenal this year. But it's going to be, can McNamara do something versus that defense? And I don't know, man. I don't think they're going to be able to just pound Hassan Haskins and Blake Corum and try to get it done on the ground. They are going to have to take advantage of Georgia through the air, and that's what Alabama did. That's what Alabama exploited. And I don't know if Michigan is sound enough to do that. But where I give them a chance is, once again, Georgia's going to have to face a very formidable defense with 2 absolute bookends on their defensive line, in Aiden Hutchinson and David Ajoba. Like, they're going to have to deal with those problems. And again, I don't know which one I trust more. Do I trust Stetson Bennett more, or do I trust Cade McNamara more? I don't trust either of them. But if you're asking me right now, I think I would probably pick Georgia to beat Michigan. I wouldn't be surprised to see an upset. I just don't know how well that Michigan offense is going to fare versus Georgia. They don't have the Jamison Williams. They don't have the John Mechie's. They don't have Bryce Young at the helm at quarterback. I'm interested to hear what you think and how that game is going to play out. I think that for me, that's going to be a real tough battle, and it's going to be a battle of the two quarterbacks, both of whom I think have no NFL future. So that's that as far as those two games are concerned.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think you laid it out perfectly. Georgia's going to just completely bail out for the run. They're going to put everything they can right at the line of scrimmage and force Michigan to throw the ball because that's where they struggle. We've seen them run the ball extremely effectively against all types of defenses, all kinds of teams in the Big Ten, but Georgia's a different animal. They're a different type of offense, different type of defense. Stetson Bennett, while Michigan has had some good games, I don't think he's going to struggle per se, right? Okay. Like I talked about, George Pickens could be back, and Brock Bowers is going to get open. He's going to move the ball, and that could be enough for Georgia to win the game. Do they cover the 8 points? I'm not so sure. But again, the biggest thing with Georgia is that their defense is going to be so good. They may force turnovers. They may force touchdowns. They may force short fields. And all those things are conducive to winning in the college football playoff. Can Michigan do that on defense? We'll see. They have a great defense, but we have seen games where they've allowed a ton of points. And that may be the same situation against Georgia. Georgia's offense is bad relative to Alabama, but it's not necessarily bad relative to all of college football. They don't put up a ton of points the way Michigan does, but we know Michigan's not going to be the same offense because they're not going to be able to run on Jordan Davis in that front. There's going to be a big difference between how they normally play and how they're going to have to play in this title game to win.
Well, I mean, Nick Saban had him ready to play because that Alabama offensive line struggled mightily versus Auburn.
Yeah.
Mightily. And they held up. I don't know. Was Bryce Young? Let me look. I'm trying to see how many times Bryce Young was sacked in the game. Bryce Young, let me see. How many sacks did Georgia? Listen to this, man. Listen to this. Georgia's defense, 0 sacks, and they only had a total combined in the game 4 tackles for a loss. Wow. That's it.
That's playing ahead of the sticks, man.
4 tackles for a loss, 0 sacks. They had 8 QB hurries. They got Bryce Young to move around, but they didn't get to him, man. They couldn't get to him. And Alabama really didn't do anything on the ground. I mean, Brian Robinson, 16 for 55. Again, I'm not buying into Brian Robinson at all. Unfortunate, John Mechie tore his ACL. That is just, it's brutal, man. Like, you never want to hear that for young any player, but star players in these bowl games. Matt Bruning asked a question, and it's just, is J.J. McCarthy the best? Where's it at? Is he the best quarterback in the Big Ten? No, I still think it's C.J. Stroud. But Bruning, I think you see it the way I do. McCarthy's going to be a problem, man. That young man is really, really good. Really good. They've got some talent. And this run by Michigan is only going to help them continue to recruit. And some news that we didn't get to talk about, Quinn Ewers transferring, Jay. Quinn Ewers, the golden mullet, hitting the transfer portal. They're talking about Texas Tech, Texas A&M, or Texas coming back to the great state of Texas. And I just want to give a shout out to Matt Bruning, who's been all over it from at least midway through the season. I secretly spread that propaganda amongst closed circles, very tight circles, that Bruning was hearing rumblings that Ewers wasn't as happy at Ohio State as he probably thought he could. He wanted to play a little bit more. It wasn't happening, but Matt Bruning was all over this one. But both those two quarterbacks, man, C.J. Stroud, J.J. McCarthy, they're going to be dope. They are going to be dope. And, yes, we had that conversation back in October, man. I give credit where credit is due. But, Jay, that's what I think. I think we're destined to see a rematch of Alabama versus Georgia in the Natty. And I don't know. I'm not going to predict Alabama winning another national title, but I will not bet against Alabama. I will just say that. I'm not going to predict Alabama versus Georgia. Alabama beats Georgia in the Natty, but I am not going to fade Nick Saban. It's unfortunate. I know people get sick of seeing it. I, for one, just appreciate their dominance. Like, I enjoy seeing dominant teams dominate. Like, I just enjoy it, man. I do not get tired of it at all. But we got some NFL we got to get to, Jay. We got some NFL we got to get to. I was looking at our picks. We did pretty good. We did pretty good this past weekend. Let's start with this one because we had some interesting dialogue about this one, and you were nervous about the yards. We were both bullish and said lock in the receptions. Chris Godwin. I mean,
Lord,
Chris Godwin, 17 targets, 15 receptions, 143 yards, over. He nailed it. I mean, there was nothing to be concerned with Chris Godwin in this matchup. And I talked about Tom Brady having his get-right game versus the Atlanta Falcons. Jay, he did just that. I mean, again, I was not concerned about Brady's yards. 368 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, did throw a pick 6 in this one. They ran the ball 17 times, threw the ball, 51 times.
51 times against the
Falcons.
Come on.
Against the Falcons. And Tom Brady, once again, surgical, pads his stats. He's going to win NFL MVP. Well, maybe. I still think he's going to win NFL MVP, but I do think
he's got to be the favorite, though.
Kyler Murray came back and picked right up where he left off, but he missed 5 weeks of football, so I think that's going to hurt Kyler Murray. But what do you think about Chris Godwin and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers' performance versus the Falcons? Anything to be encouraged by on the Atlanta side of the ball, or is it just Tom Brady? Gronk had 2 touchdowns. Mike Evans had damn near 100 yards. The best team in the NFC, right? The Bucs are the best team in the NFC, right?
They're probably the best team in the NFC. I will say, though, Matt Ryan did throw for almost 300 yards. Russell Gage had 130 yards, 11 receptions. I don't know. They didn't play overly well. And to Brady's point, he threw that pick 6 at the end of the half from like the 3-yard line, which was a terrible decision by him. Yeah. Ultimately, just a bad play. But again, they covered, which is great. They scored 30 points. But for Brady to have to throw the ball 51 times to beat the Falcons, that to me is not overly encouraging.
Okay.
You especially when you talk about dominance in the NFC, we know what it's going to take to win the NFC.
It's division game, though. I told you this, though. It's a division. I told you this. Division games.
It was
are
only tight
tough.
For the first half, though. It was
division
only tight
games,
for the first half.
Division games are tough, though, man. Division games are hard to win. You play these teams twice a season. They're your division rivals. You know these guys in and out. They're always difficult unless it's the Chiefs versus the Broncos. But go ahead.
So my only point was that they didn't look that great. Second half was a little bit better. Falcons had a great first half, bad second half. And then the crazy thing to me, though, was Mike Davis scored. That, to me, was the most surprising thing in the whole weekend. Mike Davis, 4 carries, 32 yards, ultimately ran in a touchdown 17 yards away. But like you talked about, Godwin went over, Evans went over, Gronk went over, and scored 2 tubs. Leonard Fournette scored again, had another 7 receptions. Man, if you're betting Leonard Fournette reception props, you are cashing out right now.
I didn't see what his line was, but I said like 4.5.
It wouldn't have been 7.
I said like 3.5 or 4, but either way, he would have smashed that. I mean, he smashed that, man.
7 of 8 again. I think that's the 3rd week in a row he's been 7 of 8. But yeah, Brady 51 attempts. Did not see that coming. But honestly, he's looking great. Went over his 2.5 like we wanted. You liked the over on the yards. Chris Godwin. I mean, we kind of nailed this game. I can't lie. We kind of nailed it.
We smashed this game. Like, this was a good game. We got a lot right here. We made some money in this game. We did not get a lot right in this one. Did not get a lot right in this game at all. The damn Jays, first of all, 3 of the Jays let us down because Jalen Hurts didn't even play. So his rush, but that was negated. We didn't lose that one. That just got canceled out because he didn't play. But Justin Herbert, Blake Griffin went off. I mean, he had his game.
Oh, yeah,
this is what he does, man. He's a great, young, talented player, and they got it done versus the Bengals, 41-22. Late defensive touchdown by the Chargers. Their defense played phenomenal. Justin Herbert, 317 yards, 3 touchdowns. He did get his ass sacked a lot. Took a lot of hits in this one. 4 sacks. Austin Eckler, we took the under his yards. What was it, like 50.5? I think we took the under. He goes over 59 yards, so we lost that. We took the over Justin Herbert's rushing yards, and look at this. The one game we finally say Herbert over, and he gives us 6 rushing yards, so wrong there. Mike Williams had 110 yards. He played phenomenal. He started the game off on fire. Keenan Allen with 2 touchdowns in this one. Did we touch Keenan Allen's over receptions? I know you were bullish on it, weren't you? I think you were both.
I wanted both.
Yeah, that was
I wanted both. We did say that the 6.5 receptions was a great line, but we did. I'm pretty sure, if I recall correctly, I did want the over on that, and I wanted the over on the 79.5 receiving yards, which is man, good Mike Williams showed up and just crushed me.
Austin Eckler, I think his receiving yard lines was 45.5. Was it 45.5 or 47.5 for Austin?
42.5, I thought.
And we took the over on that.
We had the over, yeah.
And he did give us over on that, 45 yards. The Cincinnati side, Joe Burrow. I don't know what to make of Joe Burrow. Help me decipher the Joe Burrow Da Vinci Code. When Burrow is on, he is money, right? But he's wildly inconsistent, dude. He's wildly inconsistent. I mean, 300 passing yards, love it. A touchdown, 2 interceptions, was sacked 6 times. QBR of 32. He ran a touchdown in. I mean, it was a nice touchdown run. When he's on, he's on. T. Higgins, monster in this one. And I'm watching the game, and I'm starting to think, is he kind of like sliding back in? Is it a dual alpha role? I
said it in the show. He's an alpha and a beta role, which is a smash spot, right? But getting back to Burrow, you talk about 6 sacks in a game, and he was hurried more than that. He's getting pressured incessantly.
Yes.
And especially when the plays were on the line, it was late in the game.
11 QB hits by the Chargers.
You can't win when that's happening to your quarterback, especially when you're down. They lost 41-22. They're trying to get back in the game. Burrow had 300 yards. Chase dropped a touchdown that would have ultimately ended up in an interception. So Burrow really only threw 1 pick.
That's true.
But the pick was bad. He didn't see the safety in the end zone and threw it right at him. Terrible decision by Burrow. But otherwise, I thought he played pretty well. Considering the circumstances, considering Mixon fumbled away 7 points.
Fumbled away
what are you going to do? What do you expect them to do when they're just playing? Again, it was sloppy football from Cincinnati. It was great football from the Chargers. They had their moments, though. I believe Eckler fumbled once or twice. No, he did fumble twice and lost it twice. And Herbert threw a late pick in the first half. So there was turnovers. There was opportunity. Ultimately, the Chargers took more advantage of it. I thought Burrow was okay. He was a little bit inaccurate. The picks didn't help. The fumble by Mixon didn't help because it went for 6. Higgins looked great. Chase, he was fine.
I mean, if he would have caught that pass, that was like a
Yeah.
90-yard touchdown pass he dropped because he would have scored. Yeah. I mean, it was
he
the money. He would have scored.
Perfect pass from Burrow.
He finally broke the 50-yard reception curse, so he got 52. But his last 5 games, I mean, 52 is his highest yardage output in the last 5 games. He was on an unsustainable pace. And I think we need to start having the conversation about the best rookie wide receiver from this 2021 class, at least in 2021, being Jalen Waddle. Because
easily.
Yeah,
easily.
I think he's the most consistent and the best looking rookie wideout so far this season has been Jalen Waddle. And it's amazing. I was listening to the game, Jay, and they said Tua had the highest quarterback rating in NFL history for the month of November. I think he completed 85% in NFL history for the month of November. I think he completed 85% of his passes in the month of November. Go look it up, man. Yeah, everybody was all.
Don't tell the people that. Don't tell them that. They're going to get mad. They're going to get mad.
Brian Flores finally stops being an idiot and commits to Tua and stops all this back and forth stuff. This is why we were bullish on Tua coming out. It's his accuracy, right? And, I mean, he looks like he's finally healthy, and he's finally playing like the Tua that we know and saw at Alabama. Joe Mixon did not go over versus this rush defense. 54 yards. He did score a touchdown, but they stepped up and they stopped him. I guess their game plan was, don't let Joe Mixon beat us. We'll try to make Joe Burrow do it. T. Higgins, phenomenal. 14 targets, 138. Was an absolute monster. Chase 5 for 52. Tyler Boyd. Talked about Tyler Boyd being MIA. He showed up big with 85 yards. So that was good to see. Eckler, like you said, had a real smelly game from Austin Eckler. But there's that, man. There's that. Yeah, T. Higgins. Got to show the graphic, man. Just he is not a wide receiver, too. He's reminding – I mean, in the catches that he was making, man, sidelines, nothing but hands, mossing people in the end zone. T. Higgins – an alpha amongst alphas. That's what it is. He's an alpha amongst alphas. He's an alpha.
Yeah.
Chase is an alpha. T. Higgins is no beta. Don't get it twisted. T. Higgins is a monster. Now let's talk about a player who was back in action. Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray was back in action and did not have to do much versus Chicago because Andy Dalton gave him the ball 4 or 5 damn times in this one. But 15 passes. That's all right. 15 passes. He only threw for 123 yards. That's it. That's it, Jay. Just 123
I couldn't believe
yards.
it when I saw his stat line.
123
Couldn't believe it.
measly yards. But he had 2 touchdowns through the air, and then he also gave you 2 touchdowns on the ground because he ran for 59 yards. The second leading ball carrier in this game. Was only sacked once, QBR of 85. Andy Dalton once again, 4 interceptions, 2 touchdown passes. It just was not a good showing by the Bears, but somehow they remained close in this matchup. What were your thoughts on Kyler Murray's first game back? DeAndre Hopkins, again, the leading receiver in this game, caught 2 passes. James Conner, 2 for 36, the leading pass catcher in this game. They just didn't have to do much of anything, but Kyler Murray was still an absolute monster in this one. Did you watch any of the Bears versus the Cardinals, Jay?
Yeah, so I watched it kind of in between watching the Chargers-Bengals. You know, I talked about that was like the game I was really excited to see. But the biggest thing to me was how much Kyler was running, you know? Like, I talked about how I didn't expect him to run that much because they wouldn't have to do a whole lot in this game to win, and that's exactly what happened. They didn't have to do anything. And to be fair to Kyler, a couple of his runs, especially the ones getting into the end zone, were like basically walk-in touchdowns. He kind of ran a little bit to the right, walked in the end zone.
Yeah.
No big deal for Kyler, but he was scrambling quite a bit, getting extra yards, trying to convert third downs, get him in the field goal range. It was a closer game than even the score indicates and the 4 picks indicate. But it's because of David Montgomery. David Montgomery had 90 yards on the ground and touchdown and 51 through the air on 9 targets. But it's crazy to think that Arizona, a team that passes the ball so much, Kyler Murray only threw the ball 15 times, and the leading target getter was Christian Kirk, who had 3 targets.
Yeah.
They were just spreading the ball around, distributing it, doing whatever. Like,
I mean, it wasn't even really – he completed 11 passes. 11. Like, it wasn't even I think Teddy Bridgewater completed 11 passes on one drive last night that resulted in 0 damn points for the Broncos. It was a weird game. David Montgomery looked really good. He looked healthy. He was doing it through the air, on the ground, looking like a beast. Nothing from Darnell Mooney. Had 7 targets, but Andy Dalton could do nothing. So this game was just kind of like blah to me. You know what I mean? But Kyler Murray did it for us for fantasy football. So that's all that mattered. Everybody should have nailed this. I mean, Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, they tried to scare us away. Jay, with what was it? How many yards? Did he? 105.
Only 105.
105 was the yardage total for JT. They tried to scare us away with that one. And he was a beast, Jonathan Taylor. What the hell? What is this? I mean, what else is there to say? This is JT. I mean, yeah. But what else is there to say? You bet the over on Jonathan Taylor, period.
Yeah.
105, 205, 305. It doesn't matter. Whatever his rushing yard prop is, you bet the over for Jonathan Taylor. 2 walk-in touchdowns towards the goal line. But this was just easy work for JT. And the Colts, man, we keep talking about them being for real. And I get it. It was just versus Houston, right? It's the Houston damn Texans. So you're not going to go crazy over this win. But they continue to look good. Carson Wentz, no interceptions. He didn't have to throw the ball a ton, 22 times, 158 yards. The leading receiver, as always, is Michael Pittman Jr., 6 for 77. No other running back in the game. Deion Jackson had 6 carries, but that was towards mop-up garbage time. I mean, he's the guy. The best running back in the NFL. Did fumble the ball once. You know, JT had a little bit of those fumble issues in college, but nobody cares about that in the NFL right now. Anything else you want to take away from this one, Jay, besides JT just being an absolute monster?
No, man, you nailed it. We talked about Tyrod Taylor got benched because he played so bad, and then Davis Mills came in and played worse. Houston gets shut out again, but a great win by the Colts, and they did what they had to do. They took care of business.
Dude, they threw the ball 27 times for 57 yards. 27 times for 57 yards, 1 interception, and 4 sacks. Just
Whoa. Okay, hold on 1 second. Did you
What?
see this guy Camu Gruger Hill had 20 tackles?
Yeah. I was watching Red Zone at one point. It was like 16, and I was like, "Holy hell!" And it was like halftime, and he had like 16 tackles. So he's just running around. Chase, he pretty much tackled Jonathan Taylor every time he ran the ball. Yes, but he had 22 tackles, and 10 of them were solo. He had it. Damn.
I hope he hit the ice bath after the game because he's
Sack,
gonna
3
need
tackles
it.
for a loss. He was all over the field, man. Just beast. All right, Jay. Victory lap time for you, baby. Victory lap time for you. Take it away. I'm shutting up.
I mean, what is there to say? I told the people 150
that's a dope
and
picture
a touchdown.
too. That's a dope picture too.
This is against the Packers. But yeah, I said it. 150 and a touchdown.
You
And
did.
thank God he got the touchdown at the end of the game. Second fastest player to 2,500 receiving yards, only behind Odell Beckham. I mean, what is there to say, man?
You
Justin
called it.
Jefferson, is he the best receiver in football?
Yes.
Like,
yes.
is he? You think he's the? So
Yeah.
here's my problem.
I think he's the best wide receiver in football.
He's the best young receiver, no question.
He's the best
Is
wide
he
out in
better
football.
than DeAndre Hopkins? Is he better than
Yes.
Devontae Adams? Those are the two guys.
Okay,
where I'm
I don't
like,
know if I'll say he's better than
they're-
Adams. I don't know if I'll say he's
See,
better than
that's-
Adams. But
yeah,
if I
those are the two.
If I were starting a franchise today, I would take Justin.
Oh.
I mean, age. I mean, yeah. I don't know if he's better
Not
than Adams.
close.
I don't know if he's better than
Yeah.
Adams. Tay is a beast, but Jefferson, okay, second best wide receiver in football. Justin
Yeah.
Jefferson, second best. Now I ain't gonna lie.
I think so.
A lot of people think CeeDee Lamb put on a goddamn show on Thursday as well too. CeeDee Lamb is pretty damn good as well.
Best receiver in his draft class. I'm sorry. I'm
I
sorry.
didn't
He's not the best receiver in his draft class. It's not happening.
Justin Jefferson
and I'm willing to say that Jefferson will have a better career than Jamar Chase. I think it's gonna happen. For everyone who says it's Chase, I think they're
man.
gonna be wrong.
I'd
I think
rather
they're gonna be wrong.
rather have Justin Jefferson over Jamar Chase.
We'll see.
He's a
You know, people
beast.
still
I
think
just
Chase is
said
better. Chase is
I said
great.
I'd rather have Justin Jefferson over Jamar Chase. I'm with you. I'd rather have CeeDee Lamb over Jamar Chase though. Personally, that's just me.
Ooh.
I think if I were ranking them, it'd be Jefferson, Lamb, Chase. And why do we keep putting? I'm just asking. Why is Chase 3? Why not Jalen Waddle? You know why?
Well, okay,
why?
so that's tough, man, because Waddle's a tough guy to rank because the volume is stupid.
But he's gonna keep getting
he
it.
is. I know he's gonna
Hold
keep
up.
getting it.
Hold up. Here's my thing with that, right? Everyone's saying the volume is stupid, right? Everyone is saying, but when Chase,
I'm not saying it. Yeah.
But listen. That was the same reason why everybody was on Chase because he had the familiarity with his quarterback, his college quarterback. He was gonna get the volume. Like what? Jalen Waddle right now. Why not Waddle over Chase? If their situations are similar, right? You've got familiarity
similar?
and continuity with the quarterback. They play with them. They're the alphas on their team. Why not Jalen Waddle over Jamar Chase? Why not? I really want to know. He's got 86 receptions, 849 yards, and 4 TDs on the season.
I think that's the problem. So what you laid out is, do you chase I think it's kind of like comparing Deontay Johnson to Justin Jefferson, right? As much as I love Deontay Johnson, people get on him, and the weird thing for Waddle is just like it doesn't seem like that's his game. Like having 9.9 yards per reception, that's not Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle is a 15-yard per reception, 17-yard per reception speed threat, but they're using him in a different way. And so maybe next year that changes, but does that necessarily change his overall production? Because he's catching longer passes, he's not completing as many passes, running deeper routes, scoring more touchdowns. I think you want to chase the volume and the production with Jamar Chase. Personally, because I think that's just going to play out well for Chase. Chase already has like 9 touchdowns. He's already has more yards than Waddle.
He's got 2 touchdowns in the last 5 games. He's got 8 touchdowns on the season and 2 of them in the last 5 games. All that production came in the first 5 games of the season.
Okay, but Waddle has 1 touchdown in his last 7 games.
So if touchdowns are the differentiating factor, that's the least stickiest thing in football is scoring touchdowns. I'm just asking, why not? Why is there not a case to be made for Jalen Waddle over Jamar Chase?
Oh, there's a case, but I think that I want to see Waddle in a different role.
He's not going to be in a different role. That's his role. He's not.
But he could have a
what do you-
different role.
I'm
Why
just
not?
asking, why would you want to see him in anything other than what he's been doing, which is great? Why do you want to see him in another role?
Because I think he has more to offer with his speed, right? To see a player with his speed have a 9.9 yards per reception, it's kind of like, is it again, I'm not diving too deep into the tape. So is it he's running a lot of screens, which do happen a little bit from time to time?
I don't care.
Is it short routes? And I'm just curious,
I don't care.
Can he do more? And I think he can. I think he can run deep outs. I think he can run deep posts. Not all the time.
What more do you want? He's about to finish the season with 115, 120 damn receptions. What more? What else do we want to see?
I'm saying I know he can do more. So I just want to see him used more down the field. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Because we know that he can do that. He's not being used that way, though. How he's being used is great.
So that should make you even more bullish. Then that should
potentially
support your argument to have him above, to have him higher. If you're saying he's already great and you think he can do even more, then why not go ahead and get ahead of it and go ahead and bump him up?
You can, but I do believe that Chase still has his 17 yards per reception, which is great, right? That's not going away. Is Waddle's catch rate still going to be, 75%? Yeah, 75%. Is it going to be 75% when he's running deeper routes? And is the production still the same? Because right now, the volume play with the receptions is great.
Listen to what I'm saying. Why are they going to change what he's doing when he's uncoverable doing what he's doing now? Like, you're asking him to do, you want him to do something else, but he's extremely successful at doing what he's doing. They're not going to change that, man. They're not going to, why? For what? This is working.
Well, you're talking about a team that has 4 wins right now?
Huh? They've won 5 straight. They lost 7 in a row. They won 5 straight. Why are they going to change what he's doing?
And so the other thing for me, right,
man.
is that okay? But the other thing is that they can't run the ball, which I think is a big factor, right? When you see Chase's production went down mostly when Mixon started to run the ball a lot as well. And so what happens when Miami starts to run the ball? They can't run. They're the worst rushing offense in all of the NFL. It sounds
like you are trying to talk yourself into not doing it because you've made no good arguments that
they don't run the ball. They don't run the ball at all.
Honestly,
that's a factor.
This may be this isn't a bad take by you. It's not a bad take. I just think you are floundering for excuses and reasons to keep somebody as the top dog in the class just because that's what consensus says. When I'm watching, I think there's a strong case that he's the best wide receiver from this class. Just my opinion.
Yeah, he
my
could
opinion. Be. And we are going to have to hear about this for how long? Probably
at least 6 more days. 2 weeks because they have the bye week.
I think even longer than that. I think heading into the offseason, this performance by Gardner Minshew has given the get Jalen Hurts out of town crew the jet fuel that it needs to just send this thing into fever pitch because Gardner Minshew played pretty damn good. 20 for 25. I think he started the game off with 12 straight completions, got Dallas Goedert cooking. It looked like a different offense with a quarterback that could stand back there and kind of sling it around. Granted, it was against the Jets, so let's temper our expectations just a tad bit. It was against the Jets, but Gardner Minshew played very well in this matchup. We can't really talk about the Jalen Hurts props because he did not play, so of course the rushing yard prop didn't hit. But Gardner Minshew looked good. Having a statue quarterback back there for Philadelphia, it looked good. My question is, after the bye, if you had to put money on it, who's going to be the starting quarterback? Gardner Minshew or Jalen Hurts, Jay?
I honestly think it's going to be Gardner Minshew.
Yeah.
I really do. And to your point about Gardner, not only was he phenomenal, 20 for 25, but the Eagles still ran the ball 40 times. Miles Sanders still had 120 yards. Kenneth Gainwell still had 54 yards and a touchdown. Dallas Goedert had a career high in yardage and scored 2 touchdowns. I mean, outside of Devontae Smith doing basically nothing, the Eagles had one of their best games of the year. And the defense played pretty well. They scored on their first 4 drives.
Well,
the Eagles probably haven't done that all season.
I think the Jets scored on their first 3 drives as well, but yeah.
So it's just hard to see a scenario where they go away from him. He has the bye week. We'll see how Jalen's ankle is. Clearly, it wasn't good enough to play in this game. I thought he actually was going to play, potentially. But with how good Gardner played, why don't you give him another look? I'm pretty sure they have the football team next. Then I think they have the football team. Then they have someone else and the football team again.
Yeah.
It's not looking great for Jalen Hurts. Like, people don't like him, and
down the stretch. Well, and think about it. Sirianni did not pick Jalen Hurts in the draft, but he did pick Gardner Minshew. He did go out and pick Gardner Minshew. The receivers, Quez Watkins led the wide receivers in receiving. He had 60, but none of them. Devonta Smith had 4 targets, and that was the leading target getter. You all right? You got a cough? Get it out, man.
No, I was gonna sneeze, but it never came.
Get it out, man. You
the
look
fact
like
that
you
noticed and
struggling.
pointed it
Oh
out.
my God.
Podcast listeners are gonna be hella confused.
Get you off of there. Golly. But yeah, the wide receivers, another disappointing outing from all the receivers. Dallas Goedert was the guy. They leaned on the ground game. They leaned on Dallas Goedert. And right now, I think Philadelphia is in command of that final wild card spot in the NFC.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Do I have to double check that?
Yeah, no, I think they've got. I saw it last night. Yeah, they are in the final wild card spot in the NFC. So we'll see. We'll see. I think we're going to see Gardner Minshew again, Jay. I think we're going to see Minshew again. So we'll see how that plays out, but I'm sure we will have to continue to hear about that on the Jets side of the ball. Zach Wilson didn't play great, didn't play bad. 226, 2 touchdowns. He had a horrible interception. Elijah Moore is starting to just come into his own. He's definitely the alpha in that offense. Corey Davis, what a flop. What a bust. He's terrible. Elijah Moore had 12 targets in this one. The next leading target getter was Jamison Crowder with 6. Just a phenomenal wide receiver class. The 2021 class, Moore, Chase, Waddle, Smith, Bateman. These dudes are just awesome. Like, another great wide receiver class from 2021. Los Angeles Rams beat down the Jacksonville Jaguars. There's not a lot to say about that one. Cooper Kupp does what Cooper Kupp does. Had 129 receiving yards, had a touchdown, had a bunch of targets. OBJ got in the end zone. Van Jefferson got in the end zone. Sony Michel went bonkers with Darrell Henderson out due to injury. 121 yards for Sony Michel on the Jaguar side of the ball. The Laviska Shenault experience at running back did not end in Deebo Samuel vibes. 3 carries, 1 yard. Robinson fumbled early. He was benched. The best wide receiver that Jacksonville has is Laquan Treadwell. Literally. And he looks...
Yuck.
He looks like the best wide receiver they have. He looks better than Viska. He looks better than Marvin Jones. He led the team in receiving. This 2 weeks in a row, Laquan Treadwell has led the Jacksonville Jaguars in receiving. Trevor Lawrence, Jay. Trevor Lawrence, I don't know, man. Jay, I don't know.
Really? You don't know?
I
You're
don't
starting
know,
to
man.
getting skittish?
I'm trying to find some positives here. I'm trying to make excuses. And I want to blame Urban. I want to blame all these people. I don't know, man.
I saw some crazy stat that I'll see if I can fact check it quickly, but I'm pretty sure he only has one 250-yard passing game this season.
It's his rookie year.
And you think about how many times he probably throws the ball. So here's his numbers, right? He's pretty much averaging around 30 attempts a game. And he's got 3 games over 250 on the season.
I mean,
but he throws the ball 51 times, 33, 24, 33, 41, 51. Like, he threw the ball 54 times, completed 32 passes, and only threw for 238 yards against the Seahawks.
I mean, I don't know, man. I'm trying. Listen, first of all, it's his rookie year, so he's a rookie. But right now, if you had to re-rank the rookie quarterbacks, what would your rankings be right now? Give me your top 5 rookie quarterbacks, like that you
this
right
is
now.
NFL?
That you
for NFL,
like,
right?
Like, yeah. That you
win.
would build. That you have confidence, not fantasy, just confidence as your NFL signal caller for the next 10 years. What would it be?
Oh God.
Come on, man.
It's
Let's
Mac
go.
Jones.
Let's go.
It's Mac Jones, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance.
I'd probably go Mac, Fields. You got to go Lawrence. I'd probably take Lance 4, Zach Wilson 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Taking the unknown. Wow.
Yeah.
Disrespect to Zach Wilson.
I think we've got to factor in organizational incompetence to some degree. Like, I don't know what percentage of evaluation points need to go on these landing spots. I still don't know. But Jacksonville, the fact that Laquan Treadwell is the best pass catcher for the Jaguars is a problem. Laviska Shenault is not panning out. I thought he would be a lot better coming into this season. I was like, huh? What'd you say?
Shocking. I wonder who could have told you that.
I tried to find the positives in there with Laviska, but it doesn't look like it's happening. I don't know about T-Law, man. I don't know. And he was going round 1 in Dynasty startups, bro. Round 1, like top 10. Top 10.
I mean, it was, everyone said Andrew Luck. That's who they were
I
drafting.
said Andrew Luck. I said
I was
the
on
greatest prospect of all time.
The greatest prospect.
Ever in the history of the game. Trevor Lawrence. Not
Check
good.
It's on YouTube.
It is on YouTube. I need to go delete that. I need to go take that down ASAP. Nah, I don't delete shit, baby. All right, who do we need to get to before we get out of here? Baltimore Pitt. Not a good game.
Johnson.
Lamar Jackson. He's a great quarterback. He's a great playmaker, but he missed some egregious ones in this one. Mark Andrews was wide open to win it, and he just threw behind him. Then the 2-point conversion try. Somebody said it last night. They're winning games despite playing good football. If they would have just kicked the field goal, kicked the extra point, if they would have pulled that game, they would have been number 1 in the AFC. Now they're sitting at number 3 in the AFC. New England is atop the AFC. Who's going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year? I'm going to ask you every day.
Mac Jones.
Yeah, because I just want to hear it. I just want to hear it. He is. Ben Roethlisberger played well. 2 touchdowns, 236. He's only sacked once. Najee, 71 yards on the ground, 36 through the air. Deontay Johnson, your boy Deontay Johnson, stud among studs. Another 11 targets for Deontay Johnson. Just an absolute beast.
Still better than DJ Moore for everyone listening at home.
Yes, he is still better than DJ Moore. I think we can come to that consensus. The Raiders lost to the Washington football team. This was not a fun matchup to watch. Logan Thomas, unfortunately, after a great touchdown in the end zone, was confirmed that he tore his ACL and MCL. Terry McLaurin, once again, I need to do something to reverse the Terry McLaurin curse. Ever since I told him he was top 5, he's been god-awful.
Do you have a football team helmet?
I don't.
You can throw on?
And I will not purchase one, but I just hope he gets better. Hunter Renfrow, the white slot god himself, another 9 for 120. He's good. He's good. Every week, I just keep saying it. Hunter Renfrow's good. Josh Jacobs plotted his way to 52 yards and a touchdown. Antonio Gibson had a bunch of volume, but 23 carries, 88 yards, didn't really get it done for us in that regard. He did catch a pass to score us a touchdown, which helped us out. Who else played last night? Well, we talked a little bit about the Chiefs game. Dude, I am Patrick Mahomes, the game manager, Patrick Mahomes.
You going to give no credit to Russell Wilson and the Seahawks? Big win against the Niners?
I'm tripping. Seahawks, yes. Credit to Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks.
They showed up.
Dude, Jimmy Garoppolo played well too, and I think if that pass wouldn't have got batted down, it was about to be a touchdown. Sherfield was wide open. He had him. I thought Garoppolo was fine. George Kittle, monster.
Oh.
How fun is he? Is he not the most entertaining football player to watch, George Kittle? I mean, when he's healthy.
I think he is.
When he's healthy and on the field, he's big, he's fast, he's physical, he's incredible. Russell Wilson did get it done. DK Metcalf and him just nearly missed on a touchdown. Adrian Peterson, man. Give credit to AP, man. He just keeps popping up and getting it done. Adrian Peterson, man. I don't know how many
1.5 yards per carry.
He gets it done, man.
11 for 16.
He grinds it out, man. Didn't he score a touchdown too? He just grinds
walk-in touchdown, easy money.
Yeah,
great blocking on that play.
If you started AP, you got you a healthy 8 points in that when he just grinds it away. AP, the running back messiah, just keeps switching numbers in teams. 5th in NFL history in rushing yards. No, AP is washed, but Pete Carroll, man, Pete Carroll loves him some.
Travis Homer, man, that fake punt. That was the sealing moment of the game.
He almost fumbled the game away at the damn goal line. And then Jimmy Garoppolo drove them like 98 yards down the field after that fumble. So San Francisco is going to be in good hands. You know, Jimmy G is going to find a new home next year. Is that it? Did we get through everything? The Washington football team, yeah, we talked about that. The Raiders side of the ball, Hunter Renfro's all you want. Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, the game manager, no touchdowns.
I think we hit them all.
What'd you say?
We didn't talk about Saquon Barkley. 11 for 55. He's all right. But Mike Glennon, yikes.
I mean, the Giants suck, dude. Joe Judge, I hope he gets fired. They're terrible. Terrible. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 54 yards. He looked good when he got the ball. Caught the ball three times as well. Leading receiver was Darrell Williams. Tyreek Hill, womp. Travis Kelce did nothing. Just not good. I mean, the Chiefs, they better be lucky they just played the Broncos because that game was terrible. Game was terrible, man. The game was terrible. All right, tonight, battle for the AFC. Here it is. Mac Jones, Josh Allen. Who you got? Are there any lines that you like in this one before we get out of here, Jay?
I got the Pats, and I got Josh Allen to go over 35.5 rushing yards and to score. I'm tempted to take Mac Jones to score because it's 12-1.
Whoa.
And while he's probably not going to do it, I'm looking at that bet. I'm like, maybe. So 5.5 rush yards as well for Mac Jones. I'm tempted to take that. But the biggest thing people need to know, man, it's the wind. It's going to be over 20 miles an hour, up to 26 miles an hour in this game. It's not expected to be too bad weather-wise because the rain's supposed to come in the morning and in the afternoon. I know that because I live very close to Buffalo. So we're going to see same type of weather here. But, yeah, it's the winds. The winds are going to be up over 20 miles an hour. 20 miles an hour is kind of like that weird threshold that we've been given by meteorologists and where footballs are very difficult to throw. So we're going to see a lot of dink and dunk, a lot of running. That's going to favor, obviously, the Patriots have a much better running game than the Bills. The Bills, while they're one of the better run defenses, they haven't played anybody. They played Miami twice. They played Pittsburgh, who can't run the ball. They played the Jets, who can't run the ball. They played Houston, who can't run the ball. So their run defense is a little bit more fraudulent than we're giving them credit for. Now, the Pats only run the ball about 115 yards per game, but I think that Stevenson and Harris can do a lot. And Mac Jones, Dink and Dunk Jones, will probably work pretty well in this win. So I'm pretty excited to watch this game. 3 points for the Bills, but I think the Pats can get it done. I would take them to cover the spread and plus 125 on the money line.
There it is. Pats versus Buffalo tonight. We're going to see. All we're going to hear about is Mac Jones' arm strength all damn game because of the wind. We're going to have to listen to that. But we will recap that. I don't know what else we're going to do tomorrow. We'll do more stuff, but we're back. We'll be here every day this week. Jay, good stuff, man. Appreciate you. Good to see you back, man. Good to be back in the studio with you, my friend.
Sir.
Good stuff. I appreciate y'all tapping in to the show. Subscribe, like, wake up tomorrow. We'll be back with more content. We out of this thing. Peace.